Hello, investors and traders. Currently, the what is happening in the global markets is that people are all expecting Fed rate cut. So the stock markets world over are expecting US to give them some direction. So the European stock markets, the Japanese, the Indian market, etc. So they need some cues from the US economy, how the US economy is going to perform in this year, how the inflation in US is going to move, how the jobs data in the US uh, is going to show growth, unemployment rate, etc. So all these key parameters, people are all investors are glued on. And because the US is the country where which is the most import, it does a lot of imports from other countries, etc., and gives a direction to the global markets. A lot of money, a lot of the funds, hedge funds, etc., are there in US. So we have to look at the global scenario and then slowly come to the Indian scenario. But overall, what is the key mantra for generating wealth in India is long-term value creation, long-term hold. Any company that you see, if you like the business, if it is growing in that sector, it has to be a high growth company. If it should have a high returns on capital employed or returns on equity, etc. The promoter background should be good. It's a lot of There are a lot of such parameters which you look at. The price to earning ratio should be reasonable so that you can make some returns out of it. So now what is happening is that the many of these stocks or many of these companies performance is all there in the public domain, and lot of such good news is already discounted in the market. So what happens is that small investor, whenever he wants to buy any or enter the market, he is always concerned that whether is he going to buy at higher price, or should he wait for corrections. And the correction never comes. If whenever the correction comes, there is lot of fear in the markets that the reason for that correction is such that people are hesitant to put money, because if there is a war, it's like scenario where Israel and Iraq, geopolitical issues are there, then people will say that no, I will not invest in markets now because the geopolitical tensions. Then the Japanese yen carry trade issue suddenly came up in few days back, and the world markets crashed. So the investor is always in a fear that such global events will make a dent in his portfolio and he might make losses. So ये सब markets में ये चलते रहने वाला है पूरे, मतलब अभी तक देखोगे तो every year something or other happens and the markets continue to go up. So we have to see how the Indian GDP is going to perform. India में how the government's policy push is there towards manufacturing, and how the overall inflation trajectory in India is. So ये सब देखना पड़ता है. So the point is that economy will continue to grow because we have got a huge consumption. The population is huge, so consumptions is going to happen, and lot of manufacturing etc. will happen, developments will happen. तो ये सब चीज होने वाला है. 7.7% का GDP growth का estimate है. So this over 5-10 years, all these negative events which globally we are seeing, that gets evened out, and then finally the wealth gets generated. Now we have to the currently where do we find such opportunities. So most of these mutual funds, they are always on the lookout for growth wherever it is existing. So wherever high growth is there, or the industry tailwinds are, the industry is going to grow at a rapid pace, the companies are going to grow, there the money will automatically get attracted. So one such company that we are going to cover today is Polycab India Limited. So let us look at, this is a cables and wire company, and it makes switch gears. So it's basically the electrical solutions for modern homes, like you have these electrical appliances. So Polycab, if you see here, it is listed on NSE and BSE. It's a 1 lakh crore market cap. The current price is 6720, and the ROC is 31%, ROE is 23%. So it's a consistently profit-making company, a high growth company. It is a leading manufacturer of cables and wires and allied products such as UPVC conduits and lugs and glands. So they have got range of cables and wires. So this company is manufacturing such products which are used in power industries, etc. It's also into consumers, so it has got products for consumers. See the last 1 year performance, if you see, it has given a good returns to the shareholders. Even the 5 years, if you see, it was quoting 5 years back, it was quoting at 614 in August 29 to 2019. From 614 now it has come to 7,000, more or less around 6,700. So ये long term holding, this is all the magic of compounding which works in the long term. Now what happens is, अगर देखो अभी आपके पास, if you have this Polycab for example at 6484, okay, suddenly some news came and from 6484 Polycab crashed to 3,980. तो ये क्या होता है कि इन्वेस्टर्स गेट अ शॉक ऑफ द लाइफ, बिकॉज इफ यू 5,400 इफ यू आर होल्डिंग, सडनली इट फॉल्स टू 3,980. Lot of investors in panic, they sell out the shares. But those who hold the shares, even from these levels, they have made profit. So इसमें ऐसा ही कंपनी अच्छी, if the company is गुड ग्रोइंग कंपनी है, ग्रोथ रेट अच्छा है, प्रॉफिट्स ग्रो हो रहे, तो ये ऑलवेज बेटर टू होल्ड दिस कंपनी. So this Polycab company, if you see here, it is the main competitor is KE Industries, that is also growing at a very good pace. RR Cable is one of the competitors of these Phenolics cables, etc. These are the competitors. Price to earning, if you show a little bit on the higher side, it's expensive valuation 56 as a price to earning. KE is also at 67. So but we have to look at the future. So this PE is all trailing PE. But whenever we look at the growth, then we have to look at forward PE. So ये trailing PE 56 है, but if the company continues to grow at the what currently it is growing 20-25%, so the forward P is definitely will be coming down. It becomes more attractive for buying. Profit and loss, if you see the sales, if you see, this company is continuously increasing sales from 3,986 in 2014 to now 18,000 crores. So आप देखोगे तो the sales are growing, continuously growing, the profits are growing 89 crores to 1,800 crores March का. Its company is continuously growing. 27% is the compounded sales growth, profit growth 25%. Very good company, well managed. Cash flow आप देखोगे तो 1,296 crores का March 24 का cash flow from operating activities very good. Debtor days 41 का है, manageable है, there is no problem. Shareholding pattern, if you see 65% promoters, it shows that the promoters are very optimistic about the future, so they are holding 65%. FIs are holding 13, DI 7%. So this overall the company setup, it's looking good, and but we have to see from this price point how the company is going to fare in future. Key highlights of this company, if you see, is the revenue has grown by 21% top line for this quarter of FY25. The operating EBITDA is up 6% YOY at 583 crores. So 4698 crores is the revenue for the quarter, and 583 crores is the operating EBITDA. Profit after tax 401 crores. So for the first quarter, it has clocked 401 crores profits. So this looks pretty impressive. Then if you see the business mix, तो कैसा है कि revenues 21% YOY grown. As far as quarterly performance is concerned, it has degrowth by 16% compared to the March quarter. But in the first quarter of FY25, if you see, the revenues have come down. EBITDA, if you see, also has come down, and profit after tax also has come down. So wires and cable business is supported by strong performance EPC business and seasonally robust quarter for FMEG business, help the company reach the highest ever quarterly revenue. So आपको top line देखना है. As long as the company is making top line growth of 20-25%, even though the profits, some quarters the profits will be lower, but finally when the revenues are growing, then the profits will also grow in the next quarters. EBITDA margin is contracted by 170 bips to 12.4%. आप देखोगे तो यहाँ पे Q1 का EBITDA it has come down because the company is saying is it was driven by shift in business mix towards segments with lower margin, contribution from higher margin international business, domestic distribution business decline. तो ये company has accepted that there was a EBITDA margin decline. PAT registered moderate decline on YOY basis, and profit after margin compression 190 bips का हुआ है YOY and 140 bips का quarter on quarter हुआ है. तो थोड़ा बहुत margins have been impacted in the June quarter, but we should not look at only quarterly basis. We have to look at the yearly performance. So different quarters, there are different dynamics at play. Some quarters the profits or the revenues are somewhat muted. Some quarters the profits and revenues are higher. So seasonality is the factor which we have to look at in such companies. In wires and cables industry, so sharp movements in commodity prices. तो आप देखोगे तो wires and cable industry revenues grow 11% YOY. sharp commodity price movement. तो इसमें अभी raw material price movements, if there are high movements in the demand fluctuations are there in raw material prices, this company gets impacted. Institutional business outpace distribution business, so institutional business is coming up domestically. International business थोड़ा बहुत decline हुआ है YY. Overall the world economies are not performing that well. Margin decline of 220 bips YY on account of lower contribution from higher margin international business. So this lower margins are all because the international business is has lower contribution. So that is what the management has indicated. FMEG is the sector which is focused on the Indian consumer, that is doing pretty well. Sustained growth momentum in a seasonality strong quarter. So if you see the revenue, FMEG business registered growth of 21% YOY. So FMEG business is doing pretty well on the back of robust demand of fans amid heat wave in several parts of the country. So April to June was India heat wave, and because of the heat wave, there was the summer was pretty harsh. So fans contributed to a large extent to robust demand by fans, driven by healthy real estate demand. Switches and switch gears, conduit pipes and fitting segments exhibited strong growth. So real estate is doing pretty well. There are a lot of pre-launches are happening. So the real estate is going to be the key consumption consuming sector for okay, wires and cables. So that is also doing pretty well. So this demand will continue to be coming from real estate sector. Lower advertisement spends, improvement in contribution from switchgears and conduit pipes and fitting help in curtailing losses. So that is what is the growth momentum that they have shown here. Other segments, when you look at the other segments, are largely company EPC business. Total income for quarter 1 FY 25 at 418 crores, grew by 292%. So ये EPC business is doing is picking up. So if you see here, the growth was pretty high in other segments. So that is good, that is doing well. Shareholding pattern we have seen are 65% promoters. Then if you have around 14% foreign investors are holding, then local domestic institutions around 5% and 14% by others. So overall, if you see the consolidated profit and loss statement for Polycab, revenue from operations for the first quarter is 4698 crores. Then EBITDA is 583 crores, profit before tax 533, and if you see profit after tax 401 crores. So 8.5% is the 401 crores. Consolidated balance sheet, more or less it is okay. Consolidated cash flow statements in the C, if you see here, the quarter 4 508 crores was the cash flow, whereas in quarter 4 FY25 the net cash flow from operating activity is negative 217. That is point to be noted. But company is doing capex. So if you see here, the capex spends are showing here. Net cash position is this. So company is doing capex. So in the we have to see how the future company performs in the future quarter. But overall, this company, the business is pretty good. The company is into wires and cable segment, and expected that the industry tailwinds are there for this particular sector, cables and wires. International business, when it catches up, this company will show higher growth in the next further quarters. So overall, it looks a good company for investment, but please consult your financial advisor. This is not a recommendation to buy Polycab here. You see the stock price movement of Polycab India Limited. It is shows that Polycab has given a returns of around 38% in a yearly basis. It was at around 5,000, 4,850 in last August, and now it has climbed to 6,685. So we have to bear in mind that the stock price has gone up pretty high. So let us look at, but over a 5-year period, if you see, the stock has given 1,138% returns on a 5-year period. So जैसे the longer term, the longer you hold, जैसे जितना आप लंबा रखोगे तो उतना ही आपको प्रॉफिट आने वाला है, वेल्थ बनने वाली है. जैसे आप देखोगे, देयर आर लॉट ऑफ मूवमेंट्स विच हैपन इन बिटवीन. सडनली मार्केट क्रैश, यहाँ से लेके यहाँ क्रैश हुआ है यहाँ पे. But if you hold on to the stocks, automatically you always get a high growth company which is continuously giving profits and increasing revenues. It goes up. And on a max basis, it has given 940% all time. So overall, even if you 6 months basis also, it has given 41% returns. 1 month basis, it has given around 6.5% return. So this has to be looked at whenever there is a correction. Looks like the prospects are pretty good, and consult your advisor before buying this stock. Thank you very much.